So I recall a billboard of mine being put up in Golden Grove in my constituency during the 2020 general election campaign. Whew. And unfortunately, the billboard company placed it in front of a pothole. I don't think the billboard could have gone up fast enough because a gentleman took a picture of his flat tire in that pothole in front of my billboard and posted it on Twitter. And it went viral. In other words, the picture in a matter of minutes, and the comments were rapid fire and they were scathing. They were brutal, actually. But, you know, when I went on the post and I looked at it, I really had to put my ego aside. And I had to accept that there was merit in what this man and the comments were saying. Because here was a beautiful billboard in front of a nasty pothole. And somehow the visuals were not adding up. You know, here was someone saying, vote for her again. But the reality of the representation right in front of a pothole was not adding up for people. And perhaps it was the best thing that that gentleman could have done for me, because it changed the way I started to pay attention to what others saw as noise in the comment section. I saw the comments as critical feedback and became dispassionate about their intent and rather proactive in my constituency representation on social media by responding to persons, directly messaging them, pointing them in the right direction, giving more accurate data, and asking for their feedback. Yeah, asking for their feedback, knowing that because my pages are public, that they could be harsh, brutal, and scathing. And I was prepared to go all in with them. So I was one of the first politicians to use social media from as far back as 2013. And unlike traditional media, which is a one-way dissemination of information, the reason why I started to use social media and believed in it was that one of the best features of it was that, you know, the communication was two-way. Because of the comments in real time with live streaming of posts, stories, news, and you could get information out and let people know what you were doing. But what could also happen, depending on how you use it, is that it could cancel you. It could cancel your integrity, it could cancel your comments, it could cancel your brand, it could cancel your name if you weren't careful, and if you didn't know what you were doing, and if you couldn't discern where people were and how you wanted to take them on that journey with you. But what the digital reality of two-way communication has also done to my mind now in the political arena is embolden what many refer to as a surge of mainstay identity politics. Because people feel really confident speaking out even more now because they know that there are thousands of other voices just like theirs. So you see, broadly defined, identity politics is a political or social activity by or perhaps on behalf of some kind of racial, ethnic, cultural, religious, gender, you get the impression of what I'm saying, that those groups that are trying to rectify some kind of injustice that they feel that's being done to them within the society, and they're trying to rectify some of those identity issues. You can go and read up some more about it. My right hand scratching me, I'm going to get some money. In 2024, you will recall that over 85% of US adults sometimes said they got their news from smartphones, computers, or tablets. And about 60% of them said that, hey, you know what? They frequently turn to digital devices for their information. And these are not only stats from 2024, they're stats from 2023 when I was paying attention. And if you recall as well, 75% to nearly 80% of people now use their smartphones to make purchases, with a majority of them using it to shop. Yeah, to shop online. So with superior technical algorithms and social media optimization, X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and now podcasts, these platforms get their news and information out fast. And guess what? The comments and the opinions come in even faster. So you think it was an accident that the world's richest man, Elon Musk, bought Twitter? No, it wasn't. He knew the potency of the platform and how he was going to use it. One of his first moves was to lift the ban and reinstate Donald Trump. And so I started paying attention. And I told people very early that Donald Trump was going to win again, regardless of the close polls. And regardless of whether the Democratic Party changed Joe Biden, and they changed him really late to Kamala Harris. And why? Why did I feel this way? Because I was watching the comments. I was watching what the public was saying in digital media and how the platforms were now using it. And yeah, some of you might say that the people are bots, but no, many of them were not. And I saw an emerging trend because the fundamental bread and butter realities of whether Americans were feeling safe were not a secret. And for black men, for Hispanics, for whites, for young women, it was clear to me that people were going to vote on strengthening their pocketbooks and keeping America safe and protected physically from outside people and other global economic threats. So you see, while identity politics was still in play, what I heard others within these subgroupings, especially in digital media and podcasts, saying was that they were not giving a second thought to the morals of the candidates or which celebrities they had on stage. They just wanted someone who they felt the world feared and who demonstrated the competence to fix the economy so that they could buy food and pay their bills. So abortion, human rights, mass deportations, Project 2025, they weren't paying attention to that. That became a dissonant reality. And so as we pivot into the final home stretch of our next election cycle, which is due next year, I want to say to those who are running that it's time to focus on what are the main issues that are affecting the nation. Because I remember back in 2016, we felt as a PNP that it was important to say how good we were treating the macroeconomy, things like a fiscal surplus, and we were heading in the right direction. And so now with messages that I see, like, there's rapid decline in unemployment and a much more stable economy, it sounds very similar. And a large portion of the population still expresses, say, we not feel it. Our cupboards have not evolved and our lives have not improved. So you have record stopover tourism arrivals. That was one of the comments I saw in my section once recently. But the craft vendor now make no money. And so the future seems dismal. And this is indicative on how people, I believe, will focus on outcomes, on their personal economic prosperity, and not so much on morals and values of the candidates or beautiful speaking. And neither will they focus on beautiful billboards. There's something they're gone. Because the victor will come from the one who uses the digital platforms best. And politics has always been about those people who are local on the ground. But guess what? The base of both sides are relatively the same. So how are you going to get those people, those persons who get most of their information on their smartphone and looking at things going viral, to actually believe in what you're saying? So them always say when chicken marry hawk, they're very, very near. A word to the wise is sufficient. Let me hear what you have to say in the comments.